So we've talked about 70% of our population. Now it's time to really take a look at the remaining 30%. The remaining 30% are the projectors, the manifestors, and the reflectors. I've got a lot of information to share today about projectors, guys. Projectors make up 20% of the population, and they're actually a relatively new type of design that really only emerged when Uranus was discovered in 1781. 1781 was a major year. I'll give it more than a year. Let's say time period. It was probably a couple years within that time period, but 1701 is when Uranus was discovered, actually. But around that time, there was a lot of shifts and changes taking place where our centers went from being seven centered to nine centered. Projectors began being born on the earth. Just a lot going on. Before human design, projectors really had no way to understand themselves, to comprehend how their unique auric field worked, or to understand the role that they're actually here to play. Before 1781, in the last centuries before that, and centuries even recently, manifestors and generators dominated all the positions of leadership and authority globally. But in the future, projectors are actually going to be moving more so into positions of greater power and taking leadership in new directions. Barack Obama is actually a projector, so interesting. But it's obviously clear, it's very clear in recent times that the way that things have been going on in our world have not been working. And over time, we're going to see a shift. And we're seeing these shifts happening now. But these shifts are going to help lead us to more sustainable ways of living for everyone. And that's what we need. This will only happen, though, when other energy types, when the generators, when the manifestors, when the reflectors, when the manifesting generators recognize and empower projectors to to their natural potential by inviting them to be guided or inviting projectors to guide them. By doing this, though, this frees up the energy for manifestors to be initiating and for generators to creatively build new structures. As we've talked about in the two previous videos when we talked about generators and manifesting generators, each energy type plays a special role, and the role of the projector is to guide and direct others. So it's not anyone better or more valuable than another. It's just being in alignment with your unique energy template. This guidance and direction that projectors provide is not for everyone. So let me say it like this. Each projector will have their own tribe, okay? Each projector is going to have their own tribe. So one projector may not be for everyone, but the people are going to, the right people, okay? They're going to be attracted to you energetically. And you don't have to force that. It's just going to happen. Each projector has their own spirit group or tribe that they're here to guide. And their vibe or energy is literally going to be what attracts their tribe to them. So your vibe attracts your tribe. So keep your vibe good, guys, so your tribe can find you. Projectors have a probing aura, and it has a really complex way of interacting with other people that sets them apart from all the other types. They have a general openness to life, and combined with this aura, it just absorbs and energetically can sample and taste the auras of other people. They have an ability to innately sense the needs of other people, and that gives them the capacity to see the big picture. They can recognize the talents and gifts of others and then bring people together so they get the big picture. Their deep and penetrating aura also allows them to recognize deep issues that might be going on with others. So this allows them to be able to intuit how they can best guide and direct people. They also can see what's blocking something from happening. So it's very natural for projectors to want to tell people what they should do because they love them, guys, not because they're bossy, okay? The problem here, though, is that when we do this without being recognized and invited, it comes across as being bossy. Now, I know this from personal experience because my family has told me that I'm bossy for years, okay? I disagree, but of course I would. That's my opinion, and everybody has their own perception. I didn't know I was a projector at the time when I was being told I was bossy either. But it's like I could see what needed to be done and how it could just be done easier, and I just want to help people to do it easier. Like, why we got to do it the hard way? Let's try this. This is going to work and this is simpler. But when I start sharing those insights or information without being asked or invited to, it never went well. And people often didn't really want to hear what I was saying. I felt like I wasn't being heard at all. I was being ignored. And I'd be like that kid in class, like, ooh, 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 please call on me. I had my hand up, just begging to be called on because that kid that knows the answer but never really gets called on and they just want to share, that would be me. And it can hurt sometimes, and a lot of projectors actually have a lot of trauma around this not being heard and about, not being recognized and feeling like something's wrong with them. Another thing that can happen though when we share information without being invited is that people actually will take your idea and use it for themselves and then gain credit for it. Okay, now talk about bitterness. And we're going to talk about it in a few minutes, but talk about bitterness, that will do it. When you've worked hard to craft something and you share it with someone who's not valuing and honoring you, and then they take it and they can become successful with it, that is very frustrating. I think we could go through all of the not self themes and experience all of them. Bitterness, anger, frustration, all of that, disappointment, all of them. So it's a lot of trauma there. There's a lot of trauma that can be connected to growing up as a projector. But we're going to talk more about that not self theme in just a few minutes. When it comes to work for projectors need frequent periods of rest, and they are not designed to work 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. That may work great for generators, but it does not work well for manifestors, reflectors, or projectors. Projectors and reflectors are both non-energy beings for the most part, and I'll talk about why I say that for the most part. And they just can't operate in that way. They're not designed to operate like a generator. That's one of the things. It brings trauma to this. There's a lot of trauma that comes with being a projector, and we really, really have to get to the root of it, learn to start valuing ourselves, and learn how we can work through these traumatic events. When you think about 70% of our population being generator types that have sustainable energy, then it's really easy to see how projectors have been taught that this is the way they should be. This is the right way. And if you're not, then you're lazy. Well, it's not the right way for projectors, reflectors, or manifestors. None of these types have defined sacral centers. So none of these types have access to sustainable or consistent energy. Projectors that try to work against their design are going to end up burning out sooner than others, too. They're going to burn out earlier. Projectors can be gifted organizers, and they're masters at understanding how to maximize energy and resources as they see things often that others miss. In our openness, in our chart, that is where we are here to gain wisdom. And through having that open sacral center, projectors become very wise about how to use their energy and to use it wisely. Energy is a valuable resource, cannot be overstated. Excuse me. So when I was working in the hospital, my mantra was always this: work smarter and not harder. My mantra has been that for years. And I was always like evaluating how I could be more efficient at work, without compromising the care that I was providing to my patients. Projectors are interested in understanding energy and seeking out systems, and they're here to help understand individuals and groups and the way that people can work together more effectively and efficiently. That's what projectors are designed to do. So, what makes a person a projector? I got a few pictures here of different variations of projectors. Projectors, there's two main categories. Excuse me, guys. But projectors will always have an open sacral center and will not have any motors connecting to the throat. I'm going to say that again. Projectors will always have an open sacral center and will not have any motors connecting to the throat. No motor connecting to the throat. There's actually two main categories of projectors, and this goes back to what I was talking about earlier when I said I would get back to that. Most projectors don't have access to energy. They get their energy from the other people that they're around, from transits, from the environment. But there are some exceptions, and we're going to talk about that right now. The two main categories of projectors, non motorized and motorized. On the left, well, it's on my left side of the screen, there is what we see. There's nothing hardly defined except for the head and ajna center. This is a very open projector. This person does not have any motors defined in their chart. They have a lot of openness. On the right hand side, you see a much different picture. There is a defined will center, there is a defined emotional solar plexus, and they're not quite as open, but they still have the open sacral center and no connection to the throat. So this is still a projector, but this is a motorized projector. Motorized projectors do have more energy to bring to the table than non motorized projectors if they learn to take care of their energy. But they still cannot function like a generator, okay? Still cannot function like a generator. This energy is still not sustainable. Let me go back to this image right here. On the right, if you see that this person has the will center defined and then the emotional solar plexus is defined, the will center is a center that works to rest. It is not sustainable or consistent energy that it provides, although it does provide some energy when it's well rested. The emotional solar plexus operates in waves. Yes, it too provides energy, but this is not sustainable or consistent energy. That is the difference. Motorized projectors do also need to get some activity though, because they are creating some type of energy. And if they do not release this energy in a healthy way, then the excess energy is all bouncing around through your body. But you have to know when enough is enough. But if that energy doesn't find a healthy way to get out, it will cause health problems. It will stay in there. And anytime energy is trapped, it leads to health problems. I do Reiki healing. I've been doing Reiki healing for some about 8 years now. And energy has to be expressed. That's one of the reasons that in our society we have so many issues with our health, because we've been taught to repress. We've been taught to repress emotions, we repress energy, we repress everything, and it has no other place to go but inside, internally causing issues and health problems. So you got to get this energy out, but in a healthy way, and know when enough is enough. Now, I am a motorized projector. I am a 4/6 emotional projector. And I found that it is really, really important for me to make sure that I'm exercising, okay? It's got to be something I love doing, though. So I teach Zumba 3 times a week because I love dancing and I love Zumba. But when I don't exercise, I start feeling anxious. I have a lot of problems with anxiety. It's just pent up in my body and I'm very restless. And it's not a pleasant feeling. I cannot stand when my energy feels that way. So making sure that I'm exercising is huge for me. When I push too hard, though, if I don't know when enough is enough and I try to keep pushing, I'm going to crash. And that crash is hard. Having a defined will center, I have a defined will center also, is another challenge because I am then therefore able to push myself even though enough should have been enough a long time ago. I can still push and will myself through it, which leads to even more issues. And I've actually had to experience this the hard way because I was being hard headed, not listening to my body properly, not honoring what my energy was telling me. Earlier this year, I was going to the gym like 5 times a week, 5 days a week in an atmosphere of which electromagnetically you're constantly, when you're in big crowds, you're constantly attracting all types of energy and making all types of connections, electromagnetic connections. And no doubt I was definitely getting sacral energy when I was there. And not only was I receiving sacral energy, I was amplifying it on a regular basis because my sacral center is open. So I was amplifying that sacral energy that I was taking in. It was either go hard or go home, okay? I was lifting heavy weights, I was doing intense cardio, and finally my body was like, no. Actually, my body was like, hell no. Sit yourself down. I ended up with stress fractures, shin splints, tendonitis, had to sit my happy self down, which was hard for me to do. Then I had to have surgery, and I was out for 12 weeks. And in some ways, I think surgery was actually a blessing because it's like the universe knew what I needed. And I'm actually thankful now for that because I had no choice but to sit down and stay sitting down. And then right after my surgery came COVID. So COVID has changed the way that everything is operating now. But what I've learned, I've gained so much from those experiences. I've learned so much from those experiences. I started teaching Zumba virtually 3 times a week, but I'm still very cautious. I'm very careful that I do not go over my limit. 3 days, that's it. So my advice, projectors, is to listen to your body and listen to your energy. Honor it. Non-motorized projectors have a lot of openness in their charts. So they are definitely going to amplify a lot of energy at one time, but then they're going to burn out much easier and much faster. We'll talk about burnout for projectors a little further down the line here, but first I want to talk about sleep because sleep is important and it cannot be overstated that projectors need to sleep alone when possible. I love this picture of this cat because that is me. My husband is always telling me, like, I'm a cat because I take naps throughout the day. And I love my naps. When I was little, I could not stand taking naps. My mom would have to, like, it was hell for them to try to get me to lay down and take a nap. But as I got older, do not interrupt my nap time. It's nap time. 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, just depends on the day, but I need a nap. But sleep is super important. We need to sleep alone when possible. And I know that this can be hard, guys, when you're in a relationship and you want to be close to your significant other, but it's also important, especially if they are a sacral or generator type, to sleep alone at least sometimes. And it's because projectors amplify that sacral energy. And then when they sleep with generators, they do not ever get an opportunity to discharge the excess energy that they've picked up. And it feels like you can never really get rested. So you're always kind of dragging and feeling tired, like you're not being rested, not well rested at least. And you kind of just feel like you're walking in zombie land throughout the day. That's a miserable feeling. And it leads to insomnia, anxiety, and all types of other health issues because sleep is when our bodies heal. Another thing for projectors is this: you need to lay down 30 minutes before you become tired. And this will help you release the excess energy that you've picked up throughout the day. This is not easy. I've had to train myself with this. I still battle with this, but we're going to get there. We're going to get there. So I do want to throw out a few personal tips because this is just through my experience, things that I've been learning as I continue on this human design experiment. You know, you live, you learn, you grow. I have learned that I definitely feel more rested when I do sleep alone. And if I don't sleep alone, then I make sure that I'm taking naps throughout the day because I will wake up feeling drained and grouchy. And nobody wants that. Nobody in my house wants that. I tend to work in spurts. So I honor the way that I'm designed to work. I may not be, I am not, I have never been a 9 to 5, 8 to 5, 5 day a week person. I just have not been. I would work 12-hour shifts 3 days a week. That was okay for a while, but I'm not designed to work that. I work best when I'm working in spurts. Projectors are designed to work in spurts. You can get a lot done. That's the thing. Our spurts, we can get so much done in our spurt that it's like, wow, you know. That was also a problem though when I was working because I would get stuff done so fast. They're like, well, we can just keep giving her more. We can just keep giving her more. And then my conditioning was like, yeah, well, let me show you guys how much I can do because I'm super projector. I'm going to get it all done and then I'm going to be done. Open route. Yeah, but I was never done. I always had more to do. So you start seeing how all of this stuff works together when we start breaking down and looking at your chart on an individual basis, like open route, how this is playing out in life for you. Another thing, working in spurts, and we're all affected by the transits to a certain extent. Some of the transits more than others, but I've been learning that the more that I track these transits, the more benefit I get from it. Because I have gate 5 defined. Even though I have open sacral, I have gate 5 defined in my sacral center. And right now, the north node is actually transiting in the gate 15. So it's making this connection. And although I realize I do not have that sustainable sacral energy, at times it makes it hard to rest. So I've had to really, really work on ways to make sure that I'm rested because this transit is going to be going on for a while now. So I definitely have to make sure that I'm laying down. What I'll do is I'll go in my bed, I'll turn on a podcast, and lay there listening until I doze off. But I was feeling really drained before I started doing that. Also, another tip, try to lay as flat as you can, as flat as possible, as flat as physically possible for you. If you have health conditions or back conditions that prevent you from being able to lay flat as you possibly can. Why do I say this? Because the neutrino stream. The neutrinos are basically small units of energy released from the sun or released from the stars, and they come off into our field. They go through our bodies there, and they're constantly affecting us, and they can affect our energy also. But when you lay flat, you actually take yourself outside of the neutrino stream so that you're not being conditioned by that. Another tip that I have found very helpful is to pay attention to my diet. And it's whatever diet you have, find what works for you. I'm not going to recommend a specific diet. Everybody has a different way that they need to eat. But I really struggle with figuring mine out. And so honor your body, listen to it, find what works for you. Me, I'm a person that needs to probably have a couple small meals. I have to snack throughout the day. I have to have 3 meals and 2 snacks, and that works for me. But find what works for you just so that you feel healthy, you feel restored, vital, and you can keep on moving. So let's talk about this strategy. Let's talk about the strategy for projectors. Recognition. The strategy for projectors is to wait for recognition and an invitation. Recognition is so important for projectors. We always hear that we need to wait for an invitation, but we also need to be recognized. Projectors innately want to be recognized and valued for who they are. Their powers of strategic recognition also help them learn their boundaries, which they maintain by being selective when accepting invitations. Let's talk about these invitations. Wait for an invitation. So you mean to tell me, Clarinda, someone needs to mail me an invitation before I'm in alignment with my decision-making strategy? No, that's not what I'm saying. If you get one in the physical mail, then take it, and it resonates with you, then take it. But that's not the only way that invitations can come, especially today when we get messages and information in a variety of different ways. So you can receive an invitation through emails, text messages, phone calls, even from spiritual guidance. But when it comes to the spiritual aspect, because I get insights and messages all the time on a spiritual level, when it comes to intuitive and spiritually guided invitations, ask the universe to send it in a way that is clear to you so that you know that this is the right thing to do. You don't need to wait for invitations for the small things, okay? You don't need to wait for an invitation to eat. You don't need to wait for an invitation to fill up your gas tank. Because if you don't do it, you're going to be stuck on the highway with calling AAA. You don't need to wait to wash your clothes. You don't need to wait to shower. You don't need to wait for the small things. What we're waiting for are the big things. So we're waiting for the big things: friendships, romance, career, where to work, where to live. We're waiting for invitations for the big things in life. We're waiting for invitations for specifically for those things. And it's important to wait for these invitations because your energy is a valuable resource. Wait, what? Wait for the big things, yes. Wait to be invited or ask before sharing your gifts of guidance and direction with others. And I talked earlier about why that is so important, what happens when we don't wait to get invited and we start sharing. Either we're getting ignored we're repelling people, or they're stealing our stuff. Projectors need to use discernment with accepting invitations. Not all invitations are created equally. Only accept those invitations that reflect your values and feel right for you. Accept invitations for things that you feel passionate about and things that you enjoy doing. That's important. And it's hard, but it's important. Another big thing for projectors, another big issue for projectors is self worth. You've got to value yourself first, guys. You have to value yourself first. So if you're waiting for an invitation, but nothing is coming, where is my invitation? What should you do? How can you help speed up the process? I'm not going to say that we're speeding up the process, but we're moving into an alignment where we're allowing things to happen more rapidly. So first, ask yourself this: do you have the energy right now when you're asking for something or waiting for an invitation? Do you have the energy that you need to fulfill the invitation if it came to you right then and there? Because the universe knows if you don't. Creator, source, God knows if you don't. He knows what you, they know the energy, the universe knows what you can bear. And if we're not valuing ourselves and getting the proper rest, we slow down our invitations until we can actually manage and handle it. It's all about energy, guys. So you have to take care of yourself. Your energy must be right. Another thing on that same kind of note is that projectors, we do well to master systems, okay? If you are waiting on an invitation, get prepared in the time while you wait. It's actually a gift. Look at your time off as a gift to get prepared. Projectors do well to master systems. And so if you're in between invitations, then start using those opportunities to begin to master a system that you enjoy learning about. Use that time to get things set up, start building businesses, getting all the things that need to be lined up so that you can be successful when the right invitation comes, because it will come, and the more prepared you are, the quicker that invitation will get to you. So let's go back into burnout, because burnout for projectors is different in a sense. It is more dramatic, it can be very extreme. Being taught to operate like a generator, most projectors probably have worked in ways that are not in alignment with how their energy is designed to operate. So burnout for projectors usually occurs between the ages of 35 and age 40, but it can actually happen around 28, and that is young. That is so young. Being burnt out will also prevent you from receiving invitations. The universe knows. God, creator, source, knows what you can bear. If you're not honoring yourself, if you're not valuing yourself, if you're not resting, then you're not going to receive the invitations. Resistance ahead. When you don't play your assigned role or follow your strategy, then you start meeting with resistance, okay? Fighting against the flow. Yeah, we're on a ship in rough water. So let's talk about the not self theme. I love the not self theme for projectors is bitterness. I love this picture of this little girl. She looks so angry. She's scary. Okay, so projectors, it's bitterness, and it is not a good place to be. It is not good when projectors get bitter. When they experience bitterness, they actually start pushing people away. You repel people when you're in that bitterness. And projectors experience bitterness. When you do experience bitterness, it is a sign. Again, you're getting a lot of signs here. It's a sign that your energy is depleted. So, again, rest is important and essential. And it's also an indicator of low self worth. So, bitterness equals low self worth or depletion. It's all about valuing yourself enough to know that you honor, hey, I need to rest. This is the way that I'm designed to work. What ends up happening a lot is that projectors get caught up accepting invitations that do not serve their greatest and their highest good. And I get it. I understand why. Accepting positions, situations that do not honor how valuable you really are. You have to love yourself enough to know that you are worthy of being successful and prosperous, and that the more in alignment you become with your design, the more that things will start to flow naturally. So, what about bills, Clorinda? The bills are not going to stop because I'm a projector. The bills are not going to stop because I'm waiting for an invitation. Okay, I get it. I know. They don't. Sometimes it's necessary to get what my teacher Karen calls a band aid job. And this is just a job that is temporary to help you get through until you get to that big invitation while you wait for that big invitation, okay? Sometimes we do have to do that. It's just a reality in this world. My hope is that our world shifts and starts really honoring the way that projectors are designed to operate, and that they become more flexible in how, working with that design. But if you do take a band-aid job, just make sure that you're really getting enough rest, and keep on working on the dream, keep on preparing for the real invitation that you're waiting for. So still all about mastering those systems while you're working that band-aid job, making sure that they're not overworking you, making sure that you're not allowing them to overwork you, making sure that you get enough rest, and getting prepared for when the invitation comes. So, some major challenges for projectors, as if I have not mentioned enough, major challenges for projectors are finding the right work. That is huge. Becoming frustrated, giving up, quitting. Projectors are often referred to as being lazy. Again, another area where there's a lot of trauma because of the way that our society views people that are not working, how they think people should work. They're lazy. No, projectors, you are not lazy. You're constantly scrubbing and clearing the energy of the world, even when you're sitting on the couch, even when you're watching Hulu, even when you're eating your popcorn and vegging out. This I'm describing myself, guys. I'm describing my. That's like one of my favorite things to do. So, but you're not being lazy because you're constantly working on the energy template, and that's hard work. It's important to have patience and trust that everything's going to work out just as it should in divine right timing. Some other challenges could be that you need alone time and you need a lot of breaks because you don't have sustainable energy. Honor that for yourself. Hopefully you're with people, with your family is going to be open to learning about this and understanding how you're designed to work, and knowing, hey, she just needs her time to restore and recharge. She needs a little bit of alone time, and respecting and honoring that. I'm going to leave that there for right now. There really should be no judgment here, though. Again, this is how you're designed to work, and this is how you're designed to operate. And if people really love you, then, okay, I'm going to leave that alone again. Again, trust plays a big part, guys. So stressing won't make things happen any faster, and then they're going to lead you down the road to more health issues. Projectors are just not here to work in the traditional way. So the spiritual role of the projector is here to clear the energy grid of the world and to help anchor the template for what needs to be created. We're here to help heal the world. So this is the self-actualized projector, guys. Okay? I know that this is a lot of information that we talked about. And if you have any questions, I encourage and invite you to please leave them in the comment section. I will definitely answer them and get back to you as soon as possible. I think there should be some relief for projectors that watch this video and are learning about their type. It can help alleviate some of those feelings of inadequacy or guilt that you may feel, and some of the trauma behind not being able to operate in the same way as so many other people. I think there's a lot of trauma there. If you found this information helpful, guys, to you, to any projectors in your life, please like, share, and subscribe. I also want to say, Ra said that this information is really designed for the kids. I get why he said that. I think it's for all of us, and it's important for all of us to start learning about ourselves. I talked in a previous video briefly about the deconditioning and that it can take at least 7 years as an adult to decondition. But the goal is to raise these kids, if you have projector children, teaching them to honor and value their energy and how to operate in a way that is sustainable for them and healthy for them, then they don't have to worry about going through that deconditioning, and they can live that successful and vital life at an early age. So that's really the goal. That's the goal. So yes, please like, share, comment, subscribe to my channel. I'm going to keep coming with these videos. There is so much information that I want to share and talk about. I'm trying to go through it at a pace here. Also, I'm excited because I'm going to be doing an interview soon with an amazing woman that blew my mind with one of her ways, her techniques of learning to help us understand ourselves better. And I really want to share that with you. So I'm really excited about that. Also, if you want to get your chart, go to my link tree /astroenergetic healing. I will run your chart for you. I hand run these charts. Give me 24 hours and I will get it to you, usually sooner than that. But I hand run them for making sure that they're accurate. I'll also send you an ebook on quantum human design and a report on your specific type. You will be asked to join my email list, but don't worry, I won't bombard you with emails. I usually will just be sending out a monthly email newsletter to let you know about things that are going on my website, special offers, discounts, and things of that nature. If you want to book a one-to-one session with me, you can visit my website, www.astroenergetics.org, to see the services I offer and schedule your session. And so I'm moving down the line. We've covered 90% of the population. We've got the 10% to go. Manifestors and reflectors. I'm excited to talk about the next. I'm excited to talk about all of it, really. I love talking about human design. So next, I'm going to try to move this to a weekly thing on Thursdays. So hopefully releasing these videos on Thursdays, depending on how my energy is. I'm a projector, guys. But on Thursdays, I plan on releasing a new video. The next video after this interview is going to be on manifestors. So please stay tuned for that. Love you guys.